Welcome back. Today is day 4 of our Introduction to Circles unit. We will be using algebra to solve problems involving central angles. Geogebra will assist us today by solving equations. Geogebra is a free online tool which is useful for solving equations and much more. Hope you enjoy the video. Oh yeah, it's that time again. We have some math problems here and we need you to do them now. Pause the video, complete the problems, and return to the video when you're done. Alright, let's go over this dude now. This is a challenging one. Alright, first thing, find the measure of each missing angle and the arc in the diagram. So we need to find, the triangle has 3 angles, so we need to find those, and the arc, there's 3 different arcs created by that triangle. Alright, first I wrote down a couple rules here. So what we should know about our intersquared angles, it's half of the measure of the intercepted arc. So let me just show you the first rule here. So the measure of angle x. So that means there's an angle x. Oop, let me change colors. Here's angle x. Let me just highlight that. So this is angle x. And what it says is that this angle is half the measure of the arc WV. So this arc right here. Okay, so this arc right here and that angle right here, these are related. And the angle is half of the arc. So if the angle is half of the arc, then this must be 60 degrees. Does that make sense? Because the angle is 30, so half of 60 would be 30, or divided by 2. Either way, hopefully that's how you see it. But that's the answer for this one. So that part right there, you should start seeing that this problem is made of a bunch of different arcs, and it's going to be very important that we see which ones are which. So let me back up a little bit so that way I can start with a new problem. Let me rewind real quick. So what do we know now? So we know that this angle here, which is 30 degrees, corresponds with this intercepted arc, which is 60 degrees. Okay, I just erased the rest because I want you to kind of see each one of these. Now, the measure of angle W. So if I look at this problem, here's angle W. Let me highlight that. So angle W, here's one side, here's another side. So the arc that corresponds with this angle will be this arc right here. So this arc right here, and I had to put another letter on it so we can name it properly. But this angle is half the measure of that arc. And if we can figure out what the measure of that arc is, then we can figure out what the angle is. And we should know that this is a semicircle. So this is a semicircle, meaning that it's half a circle. So the arc is 180 degrees. Alright, so if that arc's 180 degrees, then this angle W will be half of that. So what's half of that? It's going to be 90 degrees. And that's how we do these. Okay, now I'm going to rewind and get rid of some of those things so it doesn't look too messy. But so what do we have so far? I'll put some of it back that we need. So basically, in summary, this angle right here is 90 degrees. That was a horrible 90, because this arc over here is 180 degrees, and I'll highlight that. I'll keep that. That looks nice. So that's 180 degrees. All right, now the last one says angle W. So the measure of angle V, the measure of angle V, that's going to be from here. This is one side of angle V. Here's the other side of angle V. So this angle right here, this angle corresponds to arc XW, which is going to be here. So you notice it's between the endpoints of our angle. Perfect. And now we need to figure out what is, if we can figure out what the measure of that arc is, we can figure out what the measure of the angle is, and vice versa. All right, but what I know here, you could do it 2 different ways, but what I know here is that we have a semicircle on the other side. So we have 180 from here all the way over to here is a semicircle also. Remember, the other side's a semicircle, so this side must be a semicircle. So this must be 180. So if I do 180, subtract the 60, then I will be left with, what are we left with? We are left with 120. Which means that this arc right here, this question mark, must be 120 degrees. So does that make sense now? You have 60 on the side, you have 120 right there, and then you have 180 on the other side. And now the inscribed angle is half of that arc, so half of 120 is 60. All right, so this is a challenging problem, but again, you're just using your arcs and angles to find each other. So the relationship that we have here is, this is the relationship. This is what you need to know. And the hard part is trying to see it. You know, after a while, after you do a few problems, you'll be able to see it a lot better. But I see that the 90 goes with the 180, the 60 corresponds to the 120, the 30 corresponds to the 60. All right, so I hope that helps. Favorite problems, because this is going to start helping us get into proofs, these kind of problems. So it says find the value of the given angle. So what we're looking for is, we want to find the measure of angle. This is what we're looking for, the measure of angle TRU. So I'm going to outline that. TRU is this angle, so I should have started with T. Start with T, go to R, and then go to U. So this is the angle we're looking for. So we're looking for this angle. We want to know, what is this? Let's not use X. Let me rewind that. I'm just going to put a question mark right now. Let's just put a question mark. What is this angle right there? That's what we're looking for. But I can't figure that out. But if I knew what the measure of this arc is, then I would know that angle, because these are central angles, and central angles has the same measure as an arc. So if I knew what this was, but I don't because there's an X in there. So that means we're going to have to solve for X first. So in this problem, I'm going to write a couple things down, a couple facts that I know down. So a couple things are given to me. So this is what are we given? Well, the first thing I know in this problem is that the measure of arc TU is equal to 11x plus 11. That's what I know. I also can look right next to that and find the measure of this arc right here. They gave that to me too because they put the expression over there. So I know the measure of arc SU is equal to 13x subtract 7. And I'm going to do one more. So this little green arc over here, so this arc right here, I know the value of that arc. The measure of that arc is going to be 16x minus 4. So let's write that. So the measure of arc ST is equal to 16x minus 4. Perfect. All right, so now, what are we going to do next? So now that we know that, we're going to use those and try to figure out, is there some kind of relationship that I can write between all these arcs that I know? So is there some kind of relationship that I know that I can write a true statement based on this? So for instance, well, I know that if I took the blue arc and the green arc and I added it with the red arc, if I added those three together, I know what those add up to. And I'm going to write that down. So I'm going to say the measure of arc TU plus the measure of arc SU plus the measure of arc ST, they have to add up to some number, and it's going to add up to the same number every single time. So think about that. What will these arcs add up to? Well, I know it's equal to 360 degrees. So this is what we're doing. This is the hard part right here. This is the part that we're trying to figure out. And let me just highlight so you know what I'm talking about. So the first one, so really I took the red arc, TU, and I added it with the blue arc, so you can see it, the blue arc, and I'm going to add that with the green arc. But if I added all those three together, they should add to 360. And now we can do our problem. So again, this is our relationship. We're trying to define some kind of relationship that makes sense here. Okay? And then after that, it's just substitution and solving. Just basic math. So we substitute and solve. So let's see. Do you know the measure of arc TU? Yes, we do. It's 11x plus 11. And then we're going to get, the next part is going to be 13x minus 7. The next part is 16x minus 4 equals 360. Now, you can solve all this real quick by hand, but I'm going to take this right now to some technology, and I'm going to show you how to do it another way. All right, and then we'll return back right now. All right, so this is Geogebra. If you check it out, it's pretty amazing. There's a graphing tool here. We're not going to use that right now, but I'm going to make this a little wider just so I can see my input. Now, I told you we're going to be solving equations. So we had a long equation. So I'm going to hit solve. And what you should notice, this is kind of looking like programming language now. So solve, inside of there, we need to type some kind of equation. So inside of the parentheses, you need to type in an equation. It could be any equation. So let's type in this equation. So we have 13x subtract 7 plus 16x subtract 4 plus 11x plus 11 is equal to 360, and I'm done. Look at that. Solve the problem for me already, and I am done. So my answer for this problem is x equals to 9. So again, wasn't too much work, and again, we're letting the calculator, I like this because we're going to start letting the calculator do our calculations. Let the calculator do what it's good at. We'll come up with the equations, we'll come up with rules, and the calculator will do the calculations. So anyways, this is how you use GeoGebra. Now, this is one way to use GeoGebra. So you just use technology to solve this problem. We just found out what x is. So x is equal to 9. Beautiful. So we found out what x is. So using a little bit of GeoGebra there, we solved this equation. You could have done it by hand if you want to, but I'm going to do it that way. So now, let's see if we can go back and finish this problem. So we wanted to know, what is the measure of angle TRU? But we said earlier, if you knew this arc right here, then you would know the angle. So I'm going to write that in. So the measure of arc TU is equal to 11x plus 11. And I'll do a little substitution. So this is equal to 11 times, I'll write that in, 9, and then we'll just figure out what this value is. So the measure of arc TU is equal to 110 degrees. Perfect. So now, guess what? We know what this value is. We know this is 110 degrees. So I know the measure of this arc. And then that means if we know this arc, then we know this angle. So we also know what the measure of that angle is. So let me write it in. It's not a question mark anymore. It is an answer. So the answer is this angle is 110 degrees. Remember, central angles and arcs have the same measure. And if you wanted to, you can plug in 9 into each other value and find the other ones if you needed to. Sometimes you have to plug in your value of x into, you have to substitute it into a couple other equations. All right, but that's how you do these. Let's try problem number 2 here. Now this one's going to be annoying. There's 4 angles and 4 arcs, and I can already tell that this is going to be a lot of writing. So let's write this one in. So we have, what are we looking for? We're looking for the measure of angle EBF. Angle EBF is going to be E to B to F. This is the angle. Just follow the points. Go start at E, go to B, go to F. And this is what we're looking for. We're looking for this angle. Now, obviously, I don't know what that is because there's an X there, so now it's annoying, but we can still figure this out. All right. What is something else you notice here? I noticed that I'm given 3 angles and only 1 arc, but I'm going to take this arc, and I'm going to write 145 right here, okay? Because the arc and the angle will have the same measure, so I'm going to move that over there, so now we have that one. Now, look at this problem. We have 4 angles. They complete a whole circle. So I know that these 4 angles should equal 360 degrees. So let's write this out. Let me see. What are all my givens here? So I have a lot of givens. So I'm going to say the measure of angle, what is that? CBD is equal to x plus 75. I know that the measure of angle DBE (55). I know that the measure of the one I'm looking for, EBF is negative 19x minus 5. Oh, this is going to get messy. And the measure of angle, because I did a little moving there, so the measure of angle CBF is equal to 145. Okay, so there's my 4 angles. So I have 4 angles there. I wrote them all down. And what do you know about this? So you should know that there's a relationship between all those, that all of those are equal to 360 degrees. So let's write that out. So, oh, this is going to be painful. The measure of angle CBD plus the measure of angle DBE plus the measure of angle EBF. Is it going to fit? Yes. Plus the measure of angle CBF has to equal 100. Why do I keep saying 180? For some reason I want to use 180 equals 360 degrees. It's a whole circle. So those 4 angles. The first angle CBD, the next one is DBE, and so on. Okay. Now we can just do a little substitution and solve this problem. So I'm going to write for the first one, this angle is x plus 75, still painful. This is still painful, I understand. DBE is 55, yes, that wasn't too bad. Plus the next one, this is painful, negative 19x, subtract 5, oh, plus 145 is equal to 360. Now, you see, right here, I would be annoyed because that's a lot of little calculations that I gotta do, and so you know what? And if you're not good at calculation, you might mess up on some negative problems. But I can throw this right into Geogebra, and it'll solve it for me. All right, so let's try this problem again. This shouldn't take too bad. Let's try. Let's start this. We have, how about, remember, just type in solve. Then it should look like an out. I like this view right here because it tells you inside the parenthesis you need to have an equation. So let's type in equation. X plus z, x, where's x? X is right next to z. X plus 75 plus 55, subtract 19x minus 5 plus 145 is equal to, what do we say equals 360? Oh, done. That's how quick it solves it for you, so very nice. Answer for this problem is negative 5. Let's go finish this up. Really quick, so I know when I put in there, so I'll get x is equal to negative 5. You can do it by hand if you like, but I'm telling you, the future is going to take over, and we're going to let the computers do the calculations for us, and we're going to start doing just the thinking part. Okay, really the writing the relationship part. So this is the very important part for us. Can we define a relationship for this problem? All right. There we go. So now we know what x is in this problem, and now I think we can find our angle there. So let's see if we can do that. So that blue angle, the measure of angle EBF is equal to negative 19 times x, minus 5. I already knew my next step was, so that's why I threw parentheses in there. So this will be the measure of angle EBF is equal to, and then negative 5, subtract 5, and just a little bit of calculations, and you're done. So the measure of angle EBF is, some mental math, what is that, 100, subtract 5 of them, 195, positive 195. So 190. If you can do some mental math, do some mental math, but this angle right here is 190 degrees. All right, and we can figure out the rest if we needed to, see if it all makes sense. But not too bad. This is the little substitute your answer back in and find your answer. So this is like, there's like a 2-step process here. Write an equation, solve for x, and then substitute in and find your value that you need. All right, that wasn't too bad. Is so much nicer. I like this one so much better. All right, a couple of things I noticed here. First thing is I have an arc GH, so this arc right here, let me just write that down. That's one of my givens. So the measure of arc GH is equal to x plus 75. Perfect. I also have an angle next door to that, but I'm going to mark this arc. So this blue arc, we know the measure of this arc is the same as the central angle. So this is going to be x plus 115. So that means, let's write this in. So the measure of arc HI, oh, hi. The measure of arc HI is equal to x plus 115. Beautiful. Now, hopefully you saw this. Hopefully you were looking at this like, I need to write a relationship now. I need to find, oh, I never found, what was I looking for? I've been doing these problems so long, I forget, sometimes I forget. I already know what I'm going to do. So let's see. The measure of angle IFJ. Oh, I need to find this one. This is what they're looking for right here. Oh, this is going to be... All right, we're going to have to do this. It's going to be interesting. I don't want to show you what we're doing next week, so let's do this the way we know how to do this. So eventually we're going to have to find that angle right there. But let's go ahead and solve this problem. So can we write a relationship? Well, hopefully you notice that this line right here is a diameter, and it cuts the circle in half, which means that this is a semicircle, and it should measure 180 from here all the way to here, all the way around. So really the blue and red together should measure 180. So let me back up a little bit. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. So I want to back up, although I want to erase a little bit. There we go. So we know that's a semicircle because that gets cut in half. So let's write a relationship. So the measure of arc GH plus the measure of arc HI is equal to what? What will those two add up to if we found the sum? Well, we know that has to be, it's a semicircle, so it has to be 180 degrees. This is what I'm talking about, writing a relationship. It's not always going to be equal to 360. Sometimes it'll be 90, sometimes it'll be 180, sometimes it'll be a different number. Sometimes things are equal to each other. All right, so in this problem, there we go, we have that. Now we can do a little substitution, and well, GH is going to be x plus 75. M, measure of arc high is going to be x plus 115 equals 180. And again, you can solve it by hand if you like, or you can just throw this into Geogebra and solve this one. Let's see how long it takes me to type this up. So x plus 75 plus x plus 115, just in case you guys are like, it's so much faster to do it by hand. I don't know, I'm done. My answer is x is equal to -5. And as long as I didn't type it in wrong, I know this will be fine. I know that'll work. All right, so there's my x value. So let's see if we can use this to find what we're looking for, because again, we're looking for something that doesn't even have a variable in it yet. So let's write this in. So -5. So if we plug in -5, we're going to get -5 plus 115, which is equal to 110. So this blue arc has a measure of 110. This blue arc here equals 110 degrees. Now, can you figure out what the measure is? Well, I think we can figure out what this arc is right here. Now, see if you notice what's going on here. I think I can figure out what the arc right next to it, JI, is. Well, again, because we saw diameter one way, you can also have another diameter here. So check this out. There's another diameter that is cutting this circle in half. So guess what? If this is 110, then I know what this is going to have to be, because it has to add up to 180. So this is 70 degrees. And there we go. We're done with this one. So that means this angle is also going to be 70 degrees. Perfect. Does that make sense? So what I did was I kind of used that whole idea of like diameter having a circle 2 times. I used it once and I used it again later on to solve another problem. And we'll actually have another way of doing this later on, but let's leave it at that for right now. All right, thank you so much.